Spain, reeling from two deadly terror attacks this week. First, a driver plowed into pedestrians on one of Barcelona's busiest streets. And the second, just hours later, in the resort town of Cambrils. Both incidents leaving more than a dozen dead and more than 100 injured. President Trump weighing in on Friday, tweeting, "Radical Islamic terrorism must be stopped by whatever means necessary. The courts must give us back our protective rights. Have to be tough." ISIS has claimed responsibility for the attacks, but my next guest says they're not the only ones Americans need to fear.
The locals would snatch me up and kill me within an hour. I'd be tortured first, and after they were done torturing me, I'd probably be beheaded. It would, go on video for everybody to see as, an example.
Steve Gurn spent 11 years in the Middle East as both a Marine and private contractor, but was forced to flee Iraq after a few months when he received death threats, prompted by the video that you just saw, and he joins me now. So, Steve, your point in that video clip that we just showed was that it's not just the ISIS terrorists that hate Americans. You're saying the local population in these Middle Eastern countries hate us just as much?
Yes, absolutely. The thing of it is everybody seems to think, and, a while back they were saying, is there a difference between, radical Islam and Islam? There isn't a difference between the two of them. They're both the same thing. It's the same ideology, and that's what they believe. So regardless of whether or not you have, ISIS or you have Al-Qaeda or the Taliban, whatever the groups are, it's still the same ideology. They still feel the same way regardless. They're just actually committing the jihad because they're executing the plan, whereas others haven't executed the plan yet, but they're still thinking about it.
So you're saying even peaceful Muslims in these countries, they're just jihadists waiting to happen?
Well, the thing of it is jihad is an event that is actually meant for them to do. I mean, it's the ultimate thing to commit jihad for these guys.
All right. Well, I think some Muslims might disagree, but let's just talk about what happened here in Spain. It seems like the terrorists have really left alone the country of Spain for quite some time. I mean, can't remember. The Madrid train bombing years ago. Why do you think all of a sudden Spain's in the crosshairs?
I think basically it's a training ground right now, is what I'm seeing. If you notice what's happening all over in the UK, in the EU, and now in Spain and everything else, what's happening is they're perfecting their tactics, is really what they're doing. If you notice, a vehicle is being used almost every single terrorist attack now. Yep. Why? Because they can't get the weapons. So they're using a vehicle to do it. They're practicing, they're debriefing each other afterwards to see, hey, what worked, what didn't work. And Spain just happens to be the area that they did it in this time because they're branching out and looking for other areas. See, they're not at war with Spain. They're not at war with the EU or anything else. They're at war with the world. So they're basically using Spain and all these other countries in Europe, because of the proximity to the Middle East, as a practice ground to maybe use cars or vans here in the United States. Is that what you're saying? I believe so. This is the playbook, what we're looking at right now. This is their tactics, their what we call as TTPs on exactly how they're going to do things. They don't have access to certain weapons and so on, so they're going to use what's available.
Yeah, they're weaponizing vehicles now. It's I don't know how you even protect against that. Trump said, and you heard at the top, that we need to get tough by any means necessary. What do you think he means by that?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what he means, but I really would hope that he means that, citizens, you need to start paying attention to what's going on around you, your surroundings, and if you see something out of place, you got to say it.
Right.
You can't be thinking about whether or not you're going to be called Islamophobic or something like that. If you see something that's out of place and you're not saying it, you're part of the problem.
Well, we know that's what happened in San Bernardino. We saw some activity across the street. One of the neighbors didn't say anything because he didn't want to be accused of being anti-Muslim. You have the travel ban now in play. Every time I see something like this in Europe, most likely, it looks like another reason to institute the travel ban.
Oh, 100%. I completely believe the same thing. If we don't lock down, it's a proven fact that they're using refugees to infiltrate these countries. It's proven. They know it. They know it works. And even if they only get one in, you got 1.8 billion Muslims in the world, and you know what? 25% of them are considered not good or radical. You see what one person or two people can do.
It's a numbers game. And we showed video last week on Water's World of a bunch of refugees coming onto a beach on a boat out of the middle of nowhere in Spain and just running on shore to God knows where. So, you know, they got to tighten the borders somehow. You got to have the sword here, but you got to have a shield as well. Steve, thanks for your service.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.